to explain it, but I'm live. Hey, good morning, everyone. As always, instead of saying nothing here and waiting for people to join in, I know some of you will be watching this later, so I'm just going to get right into it. I just had an amazing hour-and-a-half long conversation with my mentor, and we were talking about authors like Richard Rohr, Thomas Merton. I can't pronounce Thich Nhat Hanh. We talked about contemplative prayer and certain practices found in different churches, methodologies, because I have so many questions all the time about how life works. So, someone says, you're albino. Not quite, because I know people with albinism, and that's not very kind. Anyways, more importantly, today, for our Meditation Monday, I wanted to do, ironically, conveniently, one on self-esteem. So this is using the Headspace app, and it's day 1, and we're only going to do 10 minutes. Good morning, everyone! And after, like we always do, we can do another Q&A, but I think we should get right into it. So if this is your first time joining, it's going to look really weird in a couple minutes because I'm going to be doing nothing. I'm just going to be on camera with my eyes closed for 10 minutes. And it's a guided meditation. And if you're unfamiliar with how meditation works, you don't have to overthink it. It's a simple connecting to your body, to your breath, noticing your thoughts instead of having this busy self-tape or happening all the time throughout the day. So it's just becoming aware. Like I said, this is topical, so it's self-esteem related. If you have any particular struggles, like confidence you might obsess over certain flaws, anything like that. Fear of talking to other people, I'm sure this might be applicable. So, thank you everyone for joining. Wow. This person's going in on me. Awesome. So it's a good time to start. And here we go. This pack uses a technique called noting. Tap anywhere to continue. If you can help, it can help you get a little direction and clarity by identifying distractions. Here's a quick video that talks more about it. Should I play this or just go through it?
Sometimes,
okay.
When we're meditating and we realize the mind's wandered off, we might not know how to react. Noting gives us some very clear direction, perhaps a greater sense of clarity and confidence. In that moment, we pause and identify the nature of distraction. Oh yeah, thinking, or oh, feeling. Having noted, there's a sense of having dealt with it. This makes it easier to let go of the distraction and gently return to the object of focus. And when it happens again, which it will, we simply apply the same approach, gently noting the nature of the distraction. Now when we begin noting, the temptation is to try and catch every single thought and feeling. But that quickly becomes tiring. We only need note the distraction when we realize that we've been lost in thought. And even then, it's a very gentle acknowledgement. Imagine it a little less like whack-a-mole and a little more like a feather, softly being placed on a fine crystal glass. So noting is when we recognize the mind has wandered. We acknowledge it, gently note the nature of distraction, let it go, and then effortlessly return to the object of focus.
All right. That's what the expert said, so we're going to do it. Let's begin today's session. He will guide us. Get comfortable wherever you are, even if you're at work and you're using headphones. Sorry, last time someone was wearing headphones and my alarm went off and it was really, really loud. So hopefully if you're here, it's going to go differently this time. All right, here we go.
It might be tempting to think that we can somehow get rid of all the negative thoughts that come into our mind, whether they're about ourselves or about someone else. But if it was that easy, simply replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts, we would have done that a long time ago. And it's actually quite exhausting trying to do that. It kind of creates a lot of conflict, a lot of inner tension. So this exercise, rather than doing that, is more about stepping back and seeing our thoughts with a little more clarity, a bit more distance, a bit more perspective. So we no longer have that bias of good thought, bad thought, pleasant thought, unpleasant thought. And instead we simply see them as thoughts. We recognize that we're not our thoughts. We're not our feelings. We're not what we look like, what we wear, what we do. That there's something beyond all of that, beneath all of that. And this exercise helps us really kind of touch that place, rest in that space. It's almost like a quiet confidence which underlies all the busyness and the noise of the mind. In this first 10 days, we're going to start with a technique called noting, where we simply label thinking as thinking, feeling as feeling. It may sound incredibly simple, but what it does, it starts to create a little bit of distance between ourselves and the thought, ourselves and the feeling, so we don't get so involved in it. And it creates a more restful state of mind. As always, I'll guide you through the exercise as we go. But to begin with, just take a moment or two to get comfortable, however you're sitting. As always, just starting with the eyes open, looking forward. A nice soft focus, aware of the space around you. And when you're ready, just starting with some nice big deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with the next out breath, just gently closing the eyes now as you allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. And in closing the eyes, just feeling the weight of the body pressing down. Feet on the floor, hands on the legs. And also starting to notice any sounds around you, both those loud and quiet. And as you just bring the attention back once again to the body now, starting to notice how the body feels right now. Starting at the top of the head in the usual way, just scanning down without trying to change anything, just noticing how the body feels. And as you scan down towards the toes, just starting to notice the subtleties of the breath, whether the breath's long or short, deep or shallow. Not trying to change the breathing in any way at all, just observing the natural rhythm. And in your own time, starting to count the breaths as they pass. 1 with the rise, 2 with the fall. Just up to a count of 10. Get to 10, you can stop and start again at 1. And remember, anytime you get distracted, the moment you realize, distracted by thought, simply note it, thinking, and return to the breath, or feeling, and return to the breath. Just try that on your own now. So remember, perfectly normal for the mind to wander off. The moment you realize you've been distracted, simply label or note the experience as thinking, let it go, and gently bring the attention back to the breath again. And just for a moment now, letting go of any focus at all. Don't worry about any distraction. You don't even need to focus on the breath now. Just for the next 10 seconds or so, just allowing the mind to do whatever it wants to do. If it wants to think, let it think. And now as you just gently bring the attention back to the body again, just starting to become more familiar with the space around you. That feeling of the body on the chair or the floor. Contact of the feet on the ground, the hands, the arms, on the legs. Starting to notice any sounds, any smells. You just become more aware of the space around you, and in your own time, you can just gently open your eyes again. Just taking the time to notice how you're feeling, not jumping up straight away, just giving yourself a few seconds to pause before starting or continuing with your day. And just reminding yourself as well that these patterns of thought, of low self-esteem or negative thinking, whatever you want to call it, these build up over a long period of time, become very strong. They don't change in a day or just a few days. This is a process where we let go of engaging with them the whole time. It's not we try and change them, but we no longer engage with them. We no longer take them so seriously. And in doing so, the mind feels more at rest, more at peace, and we experience what lies beneath those thoughts, what lies beneath or beyond our feelings. And over time, that quiet sense of confidence really starts to permeate our life. As you go about your day-to-day, do try and catch yourself if you realize that the mind's wandered off, just noting it gently as thinking or feeling, whichever it is, and just returning to whatever you're doing at the time. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for day 2.
Thank you. Thomas, I'm so glad. I know the first time that I tried meditating, I hated it because my mind was going a million directions. And I also thought, there's no way that this is going to help with anything. But what I find is that throughout the day, and I was talking to my mentor about this morning, my perspectives shift. And it's sort of intangible and you can't really predict it, but by giving yourself this space now, you're setting yourself up to be able to see things differently for the rest of the day. And as he's saying, you start observing the thoughts and the feelings, and you notice what tapes are playing throughout your entire life. And that one for me was actually surprisingly emotional. So I don't want to sit here and cry in front of everyone. But if you're having trouble with the app, you can go on Headspace on your phone and download it. I think they have a free trial as well. So you don't even have to pay for the first 7 or 10 days or something like that. But that was emotional for me because I noticed that a lot of my thoughts had to do with worry and concern. I was nervous that my phone was going to die. I was nervous that my roommates were going to come out and that this would look unprofessional in front of you. I was nervous about what you would think of me. I was concerned about the comments. I see what people are saying, and oftentimes it's really rough to be able to acknowledge it but not take it personally. But I have to know that people are, sharing things because that's their own experience, whether they need attention or they just need someone to listen. Oftentimes people in the public eye end up being the receiving end of that, as though we're everyone's therapist, or saying things here will make it matter less because we're not real humans with real feelings. But clearly, as you can see me swallowing down my emotions, I'm a real person. So as I'm going through this meditation, I'm experiencing things on a very real level as well. Just briefly, we usually do a Q&A here, so if you have any questions about anything, it doesn't have to be meditation related. Thank you, Joanna, and congratulations, you're married now. That's so awesome. Awesome, Thomas. Oh, good timing. Now my roommates are awake. Whew, just made it. Thank you, Jeremy. That means a lot. He was saying that I don't need to worry about what people say about me or think. Johnny Boy's question, are you in the new Step Up? So there are a couple Step Up things happening right now. Step Up, the series on YouTube Red, and Step Up 6, I believe, is a movie they filmed in China. I'm not in either of them. I'm not against or opposed any of the productions, but I think they're just going different directions with the characters. If they want me to be a part of it later, of course. Marcus, why weren't you in more episodes of The Sweet Life? Thank you. So the way that works is I auditioned for a character who was recurring it wasn't a regular character in the storyline, so the writers had already planned out how many episodes we would be in, and actually our characters tested higher than average, so they brought us back for more episodes. We were only supposed to be in the first episode of the show as a guest star. Scott, do your emotions come out in your dance? They do, but I actually wasn't able to tap into that for the longest time. I was a pretty shut-off person. Being in the public eye. Thank you so much, Thomas. We'll see you next week, same time. Being in the public eye, you learn how to create a veil so that you're less, penetrable and less sensitive to all of the harshness from every direction. So now I'm finally stepping into creating my own content and actually bringing a part of myself into it. So it makes me far more vulnerable, but everything feels more meaningful. So yes, now it's more emotive. Jessica, thank you so much. How was that for you being a child actress? It was really difficult. I made a vlog about this that actually ended up going somewhat viral, I guess. You can see it on my YouTube. And I talk a little bit, I don't go in depth, but I talk a little bit about the real struggles. And some of you think, oh, we see that they have the meltdowns and that it's a tough life. But it's hard for anyone to really quite understand psychologically what happens to a child when they become a worker bee at 6 years old and they know that they must perform in order to be paid, to be fed. Everything is very performance driven, but even when it comes to attachment and relationships, I learned to only make friends with people for a day while I was on set, and then you disconnect and disengage. So that carried into how I treated friendships. I didn't know that you could have long-term support systems, and I was really uncomfortable with that for a long time, and just so many layers that go into it. Patricia, how cool is it being part of the Disney Channel? And then I'll get to the question about Kurt. It was really neat. Like, you can never replace that. Lewis, this is a weekly thing, so come back next time, next Monday, same time, and I'll do Q&A as well. Disney is an awesome opportunity and platform, but like anything, the thing itself is kind of neutral, and it's what you do with it that can be good or rough and destructive or helpful, and it's made up of humans, so there's a lot of messy parts to the process, but overall I'm grateful. And then sharing my thoughts on Kurt. I'm actually going to be working with him at the end of the week. I really admire Kurt Schneider. I've done a ton of YouTube videos with him, and I'll be doing more projects with him in the future. He's a hard worker, and he's a businessman, so he was able to find out how to couple his passion and creativity with something that can give longevity and sustainability. And man, I've got to give him credit for that. I'm trying to figure out how to do that myself. Thank you, Alexandria. I appreciate it. David, hello. Leandro, that's a cool name. Hi. Joshua, how's Missy doing? Missy, I've spoken to her through other people. I haven't spoken to her directly in a while, because if people don't realize, I was 8 years old when I worked with her, so like, people don't stay in touch with 8-year-olds. Sometimes that's inappropriate. She's wonderful, though. She seems to be doing really well. I'm really proud of her in her journey. She seems to have integrity in everything she does as an artist, which I really respect and admire, and I'm trying to follow in her footsteps. Hopefully we'll be able to do a collaboration together. Devin, do you get a lot of time to travel? No, but I try to make time. I'm going to Greece in October because I planned it like 8 months ago, and I just committed to not canceling the trip. And now that I'm doing my own content digitally, I have a little bit more freedom, I guess, but I still have huge aspirations, and that means I've got to stay pretty focused on pursuing my goals. Angie, thank you. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. Tell her I said hi. I need to teach a couple more workshops. Alyson, I really love that you've branched out and you're doing what you want to do. Thank you. That means a lot. Like I said, I'm very vulnerable at this point because I'm truly sharing who I am, not who the machine formed me to be. So when people like it, it's great. When people don't like it, it hurts. But it builds such a resilience. Oh, cool. Yeah, if anyone has any recommendations on Greece, let me know. Kevin, thank you. That's very nice. How do you pronounce your name? Hanohan? Hanojin? How do you pronounce that? Where are you from? That's such a cool name. Jeremy, yes, I would love to go to Rhode Island next time I tour. It usually, veil pulled back, usually depends on how big of a demand there is in a city. So if a lot of people in Rhode Island want to see me, then I'm able to go there and know that it'll be a good show and people will show up. Ashley, awesome, thank you so much. Yeah, and if you want to see any more new dance videos, they are all on my channel and platforms. If you're on here and you're not following me on the other ones, I highly recommend it, just so you can see my day-to-day life. Because I know meditating is fun, but realistically we're all doing a million things. So if you want to see any of those other things, I post every day on Instagram and YouTube weekly. Ireland, I'm hoping to get there, Alexandria, next year with my family for a vacation. We don't really vacation much, like ever, in years. So, oh good, the green food is amazing. Good, I love me some greens. Okay, any final question? Oh, Greek food, but green too. Last question, do you ever hear anything from Mac R? I'm not sure who you're referring to. I know a few Macs, but I can't say I know who you're talking about. Thank you so much, Shannon. Hi, Danielle. Welcome. Awesome. Yeah, Joshua, you can see all of those videos on YouTube, and there are more coming. Cool, and that's a good last question. Michael, what's next for you? So I have new weekly videos that I'm posting, which really get to showcase my storytelling. I'm writing, directing, producing, performing in, singing, dancing, all of it, myself, editing, everything. And I would like for people to go and see those videos because they represent what I believe in and what I care about, what I'm passionate about, and we're able to have a conversation about it after instead of just putting a video out or a film out there and then not having any connection. But in the future, next year, I want to be performing my original music. So I'm getting in the studio at the end of this year and recording some new stuff for everyone, and I can't wait. But in the meantime, I really hope that you'll go check out everything that I've been making already. It's been several months now, and it's building beautifully. So I'm gonna head out. I've got to go work out, and if you're following me on here, you will know that I am gonna live stream the workout with my trainer AJ Draven on Instagram. I'm just starting to document everything, aren't I? I will see you all on Instagram live stream. And then if you're on here next week for Meditation Monday, I will catch you then 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Probably use the Headspace app again. If there's any particular topics that you want to do, just leave them in the comments. If it's self-esteem, if it's relationships, kindness, different topics that you want to focus on. All right, I will see y'all later. Have a good one.